Hi, everyone. My name is Eugene Yelchin, and I'm the author of The Genius Under the Table, published by Candlewick Press. I'm excited to present to you today The Genius Under the Table, a book about growing up behind the Iron Curtain. To be perfectly honest, the idea to write this book was not mine. A 10-year-old boy suggested it to me during one of my school visits. I was speaking to middle grade students about exactly about that, growing up behind the Iron Curtain. And that boy pretty much demanded that I write a book about my childhood. He was fairly adamant on that point. I did not take his idea seriously at first, but with time, I began to notice certain signs which made me think that maybe the boy was onto something. No matter what part of the country I was visiting, most middle grade students had a similar reaction to my childhood stories. I would mention, for example, that I grew up in a communal apartment where all 5 members of my family had to share a room so small that I had to sleep under the table. And I could see astonishment on my listeners' faces. Or I would tell them that one night I snuck my dad's pencil with me, and while everyone was asleep, I began drawing on the underside of the table, which most likely contributed to me becoming an artist. And again, the listeners seem to be astonished. And it is exactly that feeling of astonishment, that sudden realization that there is a lot more to life than was earlier suspected, that it is now at the heart of the genius under the table. As a boy, I discovered that there were secrets not only in my family, but in my country as well. The genius under the table dramatizes the discoveries of those secrets, but the secrets themselves are not solved. Not one in my family would share with me anything that could have put me in danger with the KGB. In the former Soviet Union, silence was the means of self-preservation. My questions were left unanswered. Was my grandfather really arrested by the Stalin secret police? Was my mother really forbidden from becoming a ballerina because she was a daughter of a political prisoner? Did my father really believe in communism? Was the KGB informer who lived next door to us was really promoted because he eavesdropped on my parents? The Genius Under the Table is a story about my younger self waking up to the brutal and secretive world. Yet the book turned out to be funny. My childhood described in it is not much different than the childhood of any kid in any country who gradually, one astonishment after another, is beginning to realize that there is a lot more to life than he or she was permitted or capable of seeing. And this gradual realization is exactly what leads to the formation of our identities. It is exactly what gives shape to our subsequent lives. It is exactly what turns us into grown-ups. I hope that you would find a little time to read The Genius Under the Table. It won't take long, I promise. I drew a lot of pictures for this book.